week 3 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few kickers I looked at off the wire this week. The first kicker, Chad Ryland of the Arizona Cardinals. Chad Ryland, he's been pretty solid over the last couple of years since he joined Arizona after he was a bust for the New England Patriots. So Ryland, the first 2 games of the year, double-digit fantasy points in both games. This week, a matchup at San Francisco where this could be a grinded-out NFC West type of matchup with these two teams. And Ryland, he's got the distance. He's got a nice boot. This Arizona Cardinal offense does stall out a decent amount of times in the red zone, and I think he's going to get opportunities with, obviously, San Francisco's defensive them but don't break unit as well. And he's available right now in 86% of fantasy leagues. Next kicker, Matt Prater of the Buffalo Bills. Prater available in 88% of fantasy leagues. We know Tyler Bass, he got injured early right before the week 1 game, and Prater now, he's come in and played well to start the season. Double-digit fantasy points, including a game-winning field goal versus Baltimore in week 1. So he's still got the distance, 2 good kicking games. And week 3, a great matchup Thursday Night Football. Usually high-scoring games. And also Miami, their defense isn't good, where I think Prater's going to get a bunch of opportunities in this ball game. So, well, anytime a kick is on a high-powered offense and getting chances, it's an easy get for fantasy owners. And Prater definitely is one this week, like I said, available in 88% of fantasy leagues. Next kicker, Brandon McManus of the Green Bay Packers. He's in a high-powered offense as well. He's got a good boot. 50-plus yards isn't a problem for him as well as McManus. At the start of the year, he's off to a good start as well. Week 1 versus Detroit, 36, 37-yarder, 3 extra points. In week 2 versus the Commanders in that one, 28-yarder, 52-yarder, and 3 extra points. So week 3 of Cleveland, they're going to have their way, I think, is Green Bay. Even though this Cleveland defense, week 1 played well versus Cincinnati, but week 2 got the doors blown off. But Green Bay, like I said, they've been in control. They're a real Super Bowl contender, no doubt about it, this season. And Brandon McManus, even last year with this team, got opportunities. So right now, if you need a kicker, McManus, he's out there in 89% of fantasy leagues. Next kicker, Daniel Carlson of the Vegas Raiders. At Carlson, he was on the list last week, and once again, a double-digit fantasy game for him in week 2 in the loss versus the Chargers. Week 1 in New England, 47-yarder, 53-yarder, 2 extra points. In week 2 versus the Chargers, 35-yarder, 45-yarder, and a 54-yarder. So he's got a big boot. Week 3, a matchup in Washington, and they got to put points on the board, even though they could be without Jaden Daniels. This is commander team. But Carlson, we know he's got a big boot. And actually, obviously, most of his games this season are indoors, with obviously being home with this Raider team indoors. A game in Indianapolis as well this season, and a game at the Chargers as well. So a lot of indoor games it's going to be for Carlson this season, and this offense stalls out a lot in the early going. So definitely a kicker there this week, available as well in 89% of fantasy leagues. Next kicker, Spencer Schrader of the Indianapolis Colts, available in 97% of fantasy leagues, and so far he leads all kickers in fantasy points. I know the first 2 games were at home. This week, week 3 at Tennessee, it's going to be a tougher matchup on the road, and Tennessee is a decent defense in a division matchup. But the thing with Schrader, he was good last year with Kansas City in the opportunities he got before Booker came back, and so far this season he hasn't missed. Even though leverage play at the end of the game was going to be a miss until the penalty was called, and then hitting a game-winning field goal at the end of regulation versus Denver. So this week at Tennessee, we'll see what Schrader does. But like I said, anytime a guy, even if it's the first 2 weeks of the season, leads the league in fantasy points kicking the football, definitely an ad. And the final kicker, Joey Sly of the Tennessee Titans. So Joey Sly so far off to a monster start. And this Titan offense, they're not going to score a lot of touchdowns. They're going to be at the bottom part of the league. And Joey Sly, we always knew he had a big boot going back to his Carolina Panther days, and that's why he's bounced around in this league, but still around. So week 1 at Denver, a big game, 47-yarder, 35-yarder, 37-yarder, 55-yarder. And then week 2 versus the Rams, an encore in that one, 35-yarder, 38-yarder, 51-yarder, 55-yarder, and an extra point. So week 3 versus Indianapolis, this could be a division matchup, grinded out game between these two teams. And Joey Sly, like I said, he's had this big boot for many seasons, and this Tennessee team just doesn't score touchdowns, and the opportunities, I believe, will continue to be there. And he's available in 99% of fantasy leagues. That's a few kickers I looked ahead for week 3 of the fantasy football season.